Sacco and Felice, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFelice.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's.
Stephen A., I believe, has now distinguished himself as the biggest and best, most influential sports voice and face in the business. And you put those two together, Smith and Russo, and it's a scream. It's hysterical. And they're both very knowledgeable, too. And Stephen loves coming on this show, not because he loves talking about the Knicks. He does that all day. He likes it. But because we get into other stuff. Like, I don't know, like this poll I saw on Stephen A. Smith's page, his Twitter page, it reads this. If the 2026 midterms were to take place tomorrow, what issue is top of mind for you heading to the polls? And he gave you 4 choices. Gas prices, Iran war, gerrymandering, White House ballroom. And when I checked in, it was over 500,000. A lot of folks participated. I did, in fact, vote. I took gas prices, and that was in the lead at the time. So here he is, the ultra-talented dear friend of mine, the great Stephen A. Smith. Steve, good morning, buddy. How are you?
What's going on, Sid? Good morning, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to have you. I haven't checked the poll. I'm sure you have. Of those 4, did gas prices take home the win?
Gas prices was number 1.
I
The
figured
Iran
that.
war was number 2. Gerrymandering was number 3. And obviously, number 4 was what it was. So
Number 4.
it is what it is.
We do need that, though. You know, they're trying to kill the president at every opportunity, so the less he's in public, especially in hotels, I think the better off. And don't forget, you know, with the whole ballroom thing, Steve, I know you know this, it's not about Trump. If they do it, by the time they do it, President Trump will have about 3 months left in office. This will be for the presidents after Trump, many of which will be Democrats. So I'm not sure why Democrats are upset about the possibility of securing safety for presidents of both parties moving forward. How does that make sense?
Well, that depends on how seriously you take the Democrats. What I mean by that is, you know, you have some Democrats that are just true politicians, and then you have others who hate Trump so much. It truly is true that if he had a cure for cancer, they would resist. You have those kind of folks that are out there on the extreme left. I don't consider them Democrats. I consider them progressives that are to the extreme. And anything that Trump suggests, they're going to be against it no matter what. And so you have to be able to delineate the difference between the two before moving forward, because that's just the reality of the situation.
So you really want to talk this morning about what you believe is the real likelihood, maybe probability, not possibility, that the Republicans, my party, because I'm MAGA, that we get shellacked come November in the midterms.
Yeah, you're going to lose. You're going to lose.
What do you mean? How do you know that?
I just think that you have too much that has been going on in this country.
One second. Before you move any further, you know this better.
Sure.
This is May. Every day in our business, politics, it's like 6 months. So to really try to predict with any real accuracy what's going to happen 6 months from now would be like you telling me that the Knicks will win the championship in 3 years.
Fair enough. But Sid, last time I checked, you came from the world of sports.
Yeah,
did you not?
I did.
Are we scared to prognosticate? We're not like other people.
Right.
We let you know where we stand and how we feel. That's why we are who we are. So what I'm saying to you is, could I be wrong? Of course. I'm not flawless. I'm not perfect. I've been wrong in the past, but I put my percentage up against most. And the fact of the matter is that in our business, we look at the tea leaves and beyond, and we deduce what we believe is going to happen. And when we look at our audience, we say from the vantage point of the facts that are presented to us, what we believe and what we feel. We're not married to it from the standpoint of recognizing that we could potentially be wrong, but we highly doubt it. So we say so. That's what I'm doing. And I'm saying to you, it's not about it. So many people talk about Trump, Trump, Trump. I get so tired of it. And here's the reason why. You got 435 representatives in the nation's capital. You've got 100 senators. Trump, unless he's going to circumvent the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution, is gone in 2028. And the people that, whether it's the GOP on the right, whether it's the people on the extreme left, are going to have to live with all the decisions that they made and the rationales behind it to justify their actions. And you're not going to have Trump to lean on. You're going to have to lean on your own. This is why I get on Republicans the way that I do when I bring up decorum. I don't even get to policy. My issue with Trump is always decorum. It's always the statesmanship position that is the presidency. It's always about how he acts. And it's always about those who capitulate or acquiesce to or co-sign how he goes about doing things, because I'm saying to them, what about when he's gone? Throughout history, we paid attention to precedent now. Even with the Supreme Court, a lot of decisions that are made are lean on precedent. We forget, I don't care how great you think he is, if you're MAGA, if you're the right. He ain't going to always be there. And it ain't no J.D. Vance, no Ron DeSantis, no Marco Rubio, no anybody is going to be able to sit up there and mimic what he's done and get away with the things that he's done. So when people don't hold you accountable to toe the line and to act with a level of decorum, professionalism, and statesmanship that's important to make sure you're not polarizing the nation to such a degree that we can't come back from that, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass.
Okay, listen.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, and what you're saying is smart and fair. But I'm going to turn around on you, Steve, okay?
Sure,
I'm going to give you a guy that had a lot of decorum, was elegant, was eloquent, and he was a horrible president. I don't care what you say. Barack Obama. Under Barack Obama, what was born? BLM. Missouri was on fire. Maryland was on fire. Staten Island was on fire. He bailed us out a couple of times. We had the slowest moving economic growth in the history of the country. He called ISIS the JV, and even though his guys got bin Laden years later, they were killing people from Paris to Brussels to California. The race issue in this country for a black president was at an all-time high. So what do I care about elegance and decorum? I want results. Those are two ends of the spectrum. One guy got nothing done in 8 years. One guy has been around for 12 years getting a whole bunch of stuff done. What's more important to you?
Well, what's more important to me are results and getting stuff done. So I will give you that. But what you're missing, and I think it's incredibly important that I say this, is that, and this is where the divide comes in, that's how you feel. There's millions, tens upon tens of millions of people who had no issue with what Barack Obama did. And that is where the divide in our country comes into play, because the bottom line is this. You have people who are hardcore liberals, and you are a hardcore righty. That's where you stand. And I respect it. I don't always agree with it, of course, but I respect it. The point is that in the end, when you're in that position, especially when you can get things done without all of that pomp and circumstance, without all of that drama, and you choose to be that way anyway. Like, for example, you're President Trump. Really, you know, you're going after the Jimmy Kimmels of the world, the Stephen Colberts of the world, the Bill Maher's of the world. Okay, but y'all are the same party that's talking about First Amendment rights and First Amendment privileges. You talk about this kind of stuff. So when you turn around and you try to get people fired from the White House, that is the kind of stuff that's going to come back to bite you in the ass, because the minute the Democrats get into power, because you know eventually it will happen, one of the first things they're going to say is, you see what they did when they had power? See, this is how a cesspool foments and proliferates and grows. You got to think about more than just yourself. I'm not talking about policy. I'm not talking about the things that Trump is. And I understand that people on the left are going to complain about it. People on the right are going to celebrate it. What I'm saying to you, Sid, is that there are things that he has gotten done that you have been very pleased with that doesn't require all of that. Yes, he's got MAGA. He's lost the independents. They're disgusted with him. When he lost in 2020, I didn't say Biden won. I said Trump lost. because the manner in which he conducted himself alienated so many people. They didn't want the chaos. And as a result, we got Biden and some of the nonsense that they did. It's unforgivable how he opened the border. Unforgivable. I know that. But he'd have never been in office if your man had acted with some decorum and some decency.
Okay.
And in the end, when you have people that you've turned off, yeah, he might survive, but these Republicans ain't him. And whether it's the midterms or it's 2028, Trump is not going to be there. He's going to have an impact, but he's not going to be able to pull it off for them. Ultimately, they're going to have to stand on their own toes.
Well, you're
And
right.
what are you going to do then?
Well, I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a guy that agrees with every Trump policy, every one, and has that decorum you're looking for, that attitude you like. His name is Marco Rubio. I'm not going to give you a Democrat who's going to tell me that.
I like Marco.
I know you do. I know you do. But I want to ask you, so you telling me, Stephen A., that if the Republicans lose the midterms, and I know you said they're going to, I'm saying if, okay, because I'm still confident, it's going to be because of Trump's decorum or because of gas prices and the Iran war?
Well, again, of course, it's going to be more substantive than his decorum. I understand that, okay? And so I'm certainly not going to say that his decorum and stuff like that alone is what's going to cost you. What I'm going to say, however, is that when you're inclined to give others the benefit of the doubt, you're not going to be so easy and so quick to do that where he's concerned. And that's where it's going to come back to bite him. And so for me personally, I think that's what this comes down to. Of course, it's going to come down to your wallets. Of course, it's going to come down to gas prices, which are at $4.53, just 5 cents up from 24 hours earlier. Of course, that's the kind of stuff that's going to hurt him more than anything, especially since you don't expect that from him. And it also, let's be honest, you also got people on the right that are ticked off because they feel he's broken promises to them, whether it's no new wars, whether it's the Epstein files. You got people on your side of the fence that have a problem with him. This man, it's not like it's just the left now. You got people on the right complaining about him every single damn day. And so all of that stuff comes back in the end. And it most certainly will come back to bite him, in my opinion.
So do you believe that this second term for President Trump, who, had that first term, like you said, he lost to Biden? He doesn't think so. He thinks it was rigged. That's fine. But he comes back with he walloped Harris. He walloped her. And maybe that's because Biden was so bad, which he was. Maybe that's because Trump's policies were so good, which they are. But are you telling me now at this point that his legacy is tarnished to the point where he may not be considered an all-time great in terms of the presidency?
You damn right.
Oh, come on, Steve. Come on.
Hey, listen.
Come on.
You got millions of people who feel differently than you. Just because you love everything he does doesn't mean everybody else
I don't love
does.
everything he does. But by the way, just, with Obama, I left out the goddamn health care. How about that, Steve?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of everything Obama has done. And a matter of fact, I've called him out on some of the things that he has done. Also, I pursued interviews with him for years to sit down and talk about, because I'm not going to fawn over him like a whole bunch of people, just like I would have fawned over anybody else. I'm going to call balls and stripes and call it when I see it. And if Barack Obama ever sat down with me, trust me, he'd have some questions to answer. No doubt about it. But in the same breath, when you look at Trump, every damn thing that he's done is right. You sure? Listen, I've got Democrats and Republicans saying, hey, we understand he had to go after Iran. You can't let them get a nuclear weapon. We know they're the number one sponsor of terrorism. We can't have that. They're proxies in Hamas and Hezbollah. We can't have that. Totally get it. But didn't you bomb them in June? Didn't you say you had obliterated them? Didn't you say they was finished and then turned around and then all of a sudden we worried about them getting a nuclear weapon months later within 30 days? What's that about? There's a level of honesty that people on your side are questioning about him. We've got an economy. We've got inflationary issues. That can't be ignored. We've got people on the right saying he was supposed to be about America first, yet everything has been going on overseas. What the hell is he doing? There's problems at home. Let's resolve those things. You've got folks in the black community that have looked at him and others, and they said, wait a minute, why is it your business to try to detach us from our history in terms of what we should have access to, about what's happened in this country historically. It ain't just white people in this country. There's Jewish folks in this country. There's black folks in this country. There's Catholic folks in this country. You fighting with both and stuff like, you don't think stuff like that's going to come back to bite them? Come on, Sid. You got to be real with that. The fact is that it hasn't been perfect. And yes, his legacy has been tainted to some degree, because even though it hasn't been the disaster that Democrats, particularly progressives, predicted would transpire, in the same breath, it hasn't been as flawless as he portrays. And just because he comes out and says, "Oh, it's beautiful, we're great," blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but your vice president is talking to people in agriculture and farmers and everything like that. Please be patient with us. Please be patient with us. Oh, so you're acknowledging the job ain't finished. You're acknowledging there's work to be done. You're acknowledging that you've come up short for the time being, and you better get your ducks in order. You're acknowledging that. Well, thank you. Welcome to the party. Because a whole bunch of American citizens are looking at it and saying, what the hell is going on?
Nothing unfair about what you just said. Nothing unfair about it. But I will tell you this. Well, yes, Iran has been a big focus, and you want to throw Israel in there for the, not for you, but for the anti-Semites that think that everything Trump does is because of Israel, which is ridiculous. That's fine. But last I checked, it's not just Trump or what he's doing, okay? When you go to vote come November, what Democrat are you going to vote for because of something that they want? I mean, look, President Trump fixed a lot of the crime issues in Washington, D.C., despite people in the police office that tried to actually distort the numbers. 13 were sent home, mind you. But he's made some of these American cities safer. When you've got illegals.
Nobody's denying that.
Okay, so when you've got illegals in our country, Stephen A. Smith, murdering 83-year-old Richard Williams, a Vietnam vet, on the subway tracks in New York, shooting Sheridan Gorman in the back in Illinois, and you've got Brandon Johnson, that idiot, and J.B. Pritzker and Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass and Mondani and Kathy Hochul telling us that ICE is the problem because 2 people did end up dead compared to 8,000 bad guys they put away, when they're telling us that, when the truth is that Trump is doing a much better job keeping our major cities safe. It's not just all about Iran. He has done some things in our own country that Democrats are opposed to, which include keeping Americans safe when it comes to illegals.
Totally agree. And the fact of the matter is that, listen, when you have anybody committing crimes in this country, anybody, they're supposed to be dealt with. I would caution us to be careful from the standpoint of, yes, we talk about illegals, and we understand that we're talking about illegals, but there's a whole bunch of people from the Latin community, okay, from the Hispanic, the Latino community, etc., that are doing wonderful things in this country. I am not for open borders. We all know that. I've been adamantly against that. I have no problem with Trump closing the borders because Biden opened them, which was an inexcusable and heinous thing for him to do, which, by the way, also went against Barack Obama, who had deported over 3.1 million people during his tenure. So why the hell would his vice president turn around and have the open borders? We know why, because the progressives, the extreme left, is running the damn country, and we certainly don't want that. I get your point, okay? But the fact is that in the process of Trump doing all of those things that have been right, it doesn't negate the things that I said. And when you walk around, I'm talking about people like yourself and others, and I'm getting on you playfully, though, from the standpoint everything the man does is not right. And you're also thinking about the presidency. You're not running against him in 2028. And in 2026, there are multiple states throughout this country. We don't know who the Democratic opposition is. What we do know is that a lot of them ain't progressive leftists. A lot of them are traditionalists as Democrats. They're opposed to the Democratic Party, being at the mercy of the extreme left themselves. So guess what? You do have a lot of people. There's a reason why 45 to 60% of the electorate is considered independents. It's not that they're not going to vote Democrat or Republican. It's that they're saying we have sense. We're not extreme on either side of the aisle. We're somewhat centrist in our thinking, meaning that we understand what we want and what we believe, but we're willing to negotiate with the other side. We're willing to hear what the other side has to say. We're willing to acknowledge when they have a point that we don't need to ignore and shove aside. That is truly the American way. One of the greatest speakers of the House in history was considered to be Tip O'Neill. Why? Because of the relationships that he cultivated and how he could walk across the aisle and make deals happen. And that could not be ignored. We've lost our way in that regard. And unfortunately, Trump has done nothing to assist in that regard. Not totally his fault, because you've got some deranged individuals on the extreme left who go to any means to smear him and all of that other stuff. I get that part. But the point is, neither side is innocent. And in the end, who's being affected most detrimentally is the American people who go to work every day, who bust our ass, work hard trying to build a better life for ourselves, and just want people to go on Capitol Hill and do their damn job and leave the drama to the soap operas and the drama series at night and the people like us talking instead of them really fomenting all of that. That's what we're talking about here. That's where the stopgap has to come. And are you and me going to contribute to it, or are we going to do what we can to alleviate it? Bottom line.
Well, I got bad news. I don't know what the extreme left is. I hear that a lot. I hear about common sense Democrats. There's only one, and he's a Republican. His name is John Fetterman. No one would consider Hakeem Jeffries extreme left. He's extreme left. No one would consider Chuck Schumer extreme left. He's extreme left. No one would consider your guy in Maryland, Wes, extreme left. He's extreme left. So who are these people that you're talking about? Who are these Democrats that you're talking about that are not extreme left?
I know Westmore. I know Josh
So do I.
I'm
Josh
you,
Shapiro stinks. And he's Jewish. He'll never win. Go ahead.
I agree with that. But he, not that he stinks, but that he's Jewish and that he won't win because of that. Because I think there's anti-Semitism going on, and I think that will get in the way. What I am saying to you, though, Sid, is that please understand, these guys that I mentioned, that you mentioned, don't mind talking to you or anybody else, you, Hannity, or anybody else in between. They're not like the folks on the extreme left. What really bothers me when you bring stuff like that up is when you're acting like they're politicians. So unfortunately, a lot of them are committed to staying in office rather than doing what they're supposed to be doing once they get in office, because you have a lot of career politicians on Capitol Hill, which you know better than me. And because that's our reality, the fact of the matter is you're going to have people who are locked in and zoned in on making sure they maintain power. And sometimes that calls for capitulations and acquiescence to a side that you don't really want to listen to, but you have to for the time being. You're trying to tell me when you listen to a Chuck Schumer or you listen to a Josh Shapiro or these other guys that they want to be at the mercy of an AOC or Bernie Sanders? Come on, you know better than that. But unfortunately, in the world of politics, this kind of stuff happens. And that's what I think you have to remember. Because when it comes to the right, if I sat up there and Trump is going and I'm pointing to all of these things that the GOP okayed, y'all going to say, what was they supposed to do? Trump was the man. Trump could have got him booted out of there. Look at what he did in Indiana just recently with the redistricting and these people that went against him.
Good job.
So he backed 6 of the 7 candidates.
That's right.
6 of the 7 candidates won. So again, he has that kind of influence, that kind of cachet. We know this. Y'all would speak about it. If it was your side, don't ignore it when it's the other side.
Well, your side, the guy that's doing that on your side, and even though I know you're from Philly and all that,
I'm from New York.
You're right.
From New York.
That's right. You're a New York guy. You're from Queens, right? You're a New York. You worked in Philly, but you're a New York guy. You're a Knick fan.
Right.
I think of Stephen A. as a great New Yorker. And you talk about Trump on my side. You got a guy on your side that scares the living daylights out of Jeffries, out of Schumer, happens to be the mayor of your great city. And some of your people, a lot of your people voted for this anti-American, anti-cop, anti-Israel, anti-Semite piece of garbage. I'm done.
Amen. We don't have to call him garbage. We don't have to call him names.
He's garbage. So was his wife.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
All we have to say is that it's nightmarish. They shouldn't. I wouldn't have voted for him. You understand what I'm saying? He knows that. Okay. I would have voted for Andrew Cuomo in a heartbeat. I would have voted for an adult in the room, somebody that's experienced at doing the damn job, rather than him. But the fact of the matter is that you have a lot of youngsters. You can't have stuff going on college campuses with these kids and think that they ain't gonna show up at the polls. If he was running for the state, he would not have stood a chance. He ran for the city. And so you got a bunch of young kids. And what do young kids, what, let me ask you this question, Sid. What's a young kid's favorite word?
Money.
Free.
Is that right?
Free. Everything free.
Free.
Free
You're right.
grocery store.
You're right.
Free child care.
You're right.
Free this, free that.
Yeah.
Let's eradicate student
By
loans.
the way,
We all had to pay off our student loans and all this. They don't want to pay off this
that
student
is
loan.
not exclusive to young people, Stephen. I'm 59. I love free, too.
well, you know what? I don't. Because you know why I don't love free? Because I don't think anything's free. I think that's living in a fantasy world.
It's true.
I think there's a price that comes along with everything.
True.
Why hide it? Why deny it? And it's not just in America. It's everywhere.
Yep.
Everything costs.
It's true.
So let's deal with reality and go from there. And unfortunately, too many people don't do that, and that's the damn problem.
Okay, so I got to ask you this, but what a great conversation. I love these segments, Steve. And so does everybody else. Just, the ratings are huge when you come on this show. Huge. When you because you're great. Because you're great with politics and sports. So let me mix them up here, both. Let's assume that you're me, and you think President Trump is the greatest. Okay, that's me. Would you compare President Trump, it's a serious question, more favorably to Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
No. Michael Jordan is a 6-time champion. LeBron James is a 4-time champion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to talk about elections, I'll give him credit for that because he won twice and to come back after what he went through and to win it again in 2024. If that's what you're talking about, fine. You know what I'm saying? That's a LeBron kind of thing because Jordan never lost and LeBron did.
Right.
But the bottom line is that I wouldn't compare him to either one of them because I'm not fawning over him the way a lot of y'all are based on what we're seeing for the second go round.
Oh, give me the player. Give me the player then. Is he Isaiah? I mean, is he Bird?
I don't know. And I don't want to disrespect a player like that. Let me see what he does. Ask me this question in a year.
That's fair. I can't wait to ask you this question. I can't wait because he's going to win the war, okay? Hopefully sooner than later. That I agree with. I've been critical of President Trump. He'd be proud of me.
Hold on.
Yeah?
Hold on, Sid.
Yeah.
For a month, they couldn't come up with $2 billion to pay TSA workers and other folks.
Yeah.
But you spending $2 billion a day.
Wait a second. That's your party's fault. That was a demo.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You bombed Iran. And the fact of the matter is, when you did it, okay, that was his decision, according to some people, against the wishes and the advice of his own team.
True.
Because, again, I'm not going to say Netanyahu made him. President Trump's his own man, fine. But he made that decision. So the point that I'm trying to make to you, because that's the reality of the situation that can't be escaped, and that's what happened, let's call it what it is. That's his decision. That's what he did. All right? You spending $2 billion a day, but couldn't come up with $2 billion for the month for a bunch of work, for a bunch of American citizens who supported you. You gonna count that as a plus? Hell no. I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna let you do it.
Okay.
You didn't do that.
All right.
That's $2 billion a day, man.
It's a lot of money.
$39 trillion is a deficit.
Yeah.
What do you think our deficit is going to be? War is cost.
Probably more.
Let's call it what it is, man.
Some of this stuff I can't argue, and I'm critical of President Trump about this war in that, for me at least, it's taken way too long. It's enough with the extensions. Either do what you threaten you're going to do 100 times or just come home. But, I'm with you that every day that this continues with the threat, and if I hear Strait of Hormuz one more time, I'm going to go back to talking sports. I swear to God.
How about that? The Strait of Hormuz, 20% of the world's oil supply comes through there, and Iran is blocking it. And you talk about we doing fine, but they've been blocking it for weeks. It's on 10 weeks, man.
Yeah, that's true.
It's on 10 weeks.
I know.
But y'all walking around here talking like he winning.
He is winning. He's the greatest ever.
No,
He is.
No,
the greatest
you just
ever.
love his personality. You love his personality. You love the fact that he uses a bully pulpit because you think the politicians have been soft for too long, which is right.
Correct.
You're absolutely right about that.
That's right.
And because he's not soft like that
at all,
and he says that he's a mover and shaker.
That's
you
right.
love that. I respect that.
Love it.
I respect that. But that does not mean he's doing a great job.
I want you to say this.
Last time I checked, you got to finish the job.
I want you to say this slowly. Stephen A. President Trump is doing a magnificent job.
I will not say that.
There's no
that
way?
That's not how I feel.
No chance?
Those words will not come out of my mouth.
Okay. All right. How about this one? How about this one then?
I'm not sold.
Okay, fine. Are you sold on the way out then that the Knicks right now halfway towards a semifinal win and heading towards the Eastern Conference Finals, can really win the championship this year?
I'm back and forth on it. I don't believe anybody could beat Oklahoma City. I mean, as great as the Knicks are looking right now, the Atlanta Hawks and the depleted Philadelphia 76ers are not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Oklahoma City Thunder. I have sense. I was born that night, not last night. These brothers are the real deal, man.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm just telling you. There's levels to this, man. There's levels to this, Sid.
Yep. I'm not even sure they'll beat San Antonio. I mean, the Spurs are really good, too.
That is true. But San Antonio got to get through Minnesota.
Yeah.
And Minnesota right now, even though they got blown out last night, remember, Minnesota blew out Oklahoma City by 40.
That's right.
Last year.
Yep.
In Game 3.
Yep.
And then lost. In Game 4. You can't get caught up with that.
No, you're right. You're right about that. So,
you're right. This is one game. It's just one game.
Yeah. One game, one day means nothing. On the way out here, I got Bill O'Reilly coming up next. He never misses a show. He's listening right now. What is your message? What's your message, Bill? Stephen A. to Bill O'Reilly listening right now?
I think, Bill, let me say this.
Okay.
Because I think it's important to say. Bill O'Reilly has forgotten more politics than most people know.
Agreed.
I'm a huge fan of Chris Cuomo. He's a friend. I'm a fan, but I respect the hell out of Bill O'Reilly. And I can't thank him enough because when you hear me come on these airwaves and I talk about what I talk, a lot of people have blessed me with their insight, their perspectives, and their knowledge. That is what makes me better. And Bill O'Reilly is one of those people. And, people could say what they will about him, but he's incredibly thoughtful. He's very knowledgeable. He's very experienced, etc. I have one knock against Bill O'Reilly and one knock only.
Uh-oh.
I think that Bill O'Reilly is a guy that appreciates himself so much because he thinks that others don't.
Oh, wow.
And
really?
I'm here to tell, and I'm here to tell you, he's wrong about that.
Wow.
There are people like myself and others who do appreciate him.
And me.
Even when we think he's wrong.
Yeah.
Even when we think he's wrong. He's incredibly knowledgeable. He's seasoned. He's been around a long time. And I respect the hell out of him. He certainly has helped make me smarter about issues. And I'm thankful for it. And I'm thankful for the relationship that we have. Even when we disagree, I'm good with it.
That's how I feel about you, too. Everything you just said about Bill, I think, applies to you, too. I think you're beautiful. I really do. That was a great, great conversation again today. Let's keep doing this, Stephen. You're a very, very important voice for this country, not just about the Knicks and the Dodgers, but everything you discuss with me, you are terrific. You really are. So thank you so much, my friend.
And thank you, Sid. You take it easy, man.
God bless
you. Have a good day.
You, too. Stephen A. Smith, right here on Sid and Friends in the Morning. That is one of the best segments you'll ever hear.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.